All right, everybody, welcome to the lunch break here at FNGO this Tuesday. I think it's the July 1st. That's right, because it's Bobby Bonilla Day. What's up, Cam? Doc Holiday already in the comment section. You guys, hey, listen, we appreciate you watching. You guys are going to be joining us. Got a lot of stuff to go over today. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Click that notification bell. Give me a thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook, same thing. Make sure you like it and all that. Guys, Bobby Bonilla Day, yeah, right there. This guy did something extraordinary that I think was one of the smartest things he's ever done or anybody's ever done as far as contracts. But we're going to be talking about it. A lot of things going on. It's hot. You guys that are going to be fishing, going to be dodging thunderstorms for the rest of the week. It's going to get hotter again as the week goes on. What's up, Messick? Silver Punk, after we talked yesterday or wherever it was, I promise you, dude, I thought you was like young. I can't believe you're my age. I don't know why I lost that. What happened there? But anyway, guys, we got a great live well tonight. Got Dan Bavery from Magnum Baits. It's going to be coming on tonight. We're going to continue talking about big swim baits, not swim baits, big baits in general, big Senkos for largemouth bass, and see if we can kind of replicate it here on some of our lakes as well with the largemouth and everything and the spots. See if we're throwing some spots. And I want to give a shout out to Trey, one of our viewers. And Trey, I forgot your last name, but he jumps in. I know he's on the live well, but he's probably in a sales meeting right now. He's still young at heart. There you go, Silver Punk. Last week we talked about Little Debbie's. We were ranking Little Debbie's. And or on a future episode or a previous episode. And he came by today and he brought me his favorite Little Debbie's. What's up, Coleman? Jelly cream pies. And I was gonna do a rating. I was gonna eat one and kind of rank it. What's up, Steve in Illinois? How you doing, buddy? I was gonna rank them, but if we're being honest, I've already eaten two of them. Okay, I already eaten two. Now, the way I can describe the jelly cream pies, it's got a strawberry filling in it. It reminds me of a very softer version of a moon pie. They're legit. Now, dang, I forgot about those. They're pretty good. So he brought me some today. What's up, Tony? And I actually ate a couple of them. And out of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, I'm going to give them a solid 7.5. Wait, what? What's going on, buddy? A solid 7.5. Now, are they my favorite? No. Yeah, Cam, it could be a Pornhub title. Jelly cream pies, I guess, but no, not today. So anyway, but yeah, solid 7.5. So listen, I encourage all you guys that are viewing anything, if you ever come by the shop and you want to bring me something to eat, hey, feel free. And he also, look, in keeping in with our big baits, these are 10-inch Yamamotos. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen 10-inch Yamamotos. Check these things out. Now, the only difference is it's basically a Senko, and then it gets narrow right there at the tail and a little bit wider. And he said that they're called floaters. So Trey says when you put them on a shaky head, this will float straight up. I mean, that's a lot of worm right there. So definitely we're going to be talking about those. Oatmeal cream pies make a good boat snack. And wait, what says Lola, I have those worms. Well, what are you throwing them for? Archie Lee, hey, from St. Simon's Island. Buddy, appreciate you joining us today. That's awesome. Wish I was on St. Simon's. While you're at St. Simon's, Chef Dave, he has a restaurant. He's got 3 of them down there, but he's got a restaurant called Halyards. Dude, go down there, tell him the guys from the Real American Road Trip, tell him Danny sent you down there. See if you can meet Chef Dave. The food's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Danny, we went on Sunday, 30.62 pounds. Good Lord. Where was you fishing? And it looks like a lot of tail to get bitten off. It does. And tonight when we have Dan on and we're talking about those big baits, we'll ask him that. What's up, Nathan Owens? All right, so listen. Got a lot to get to. I got a product thing I want to show you from Battery Tender. We're going to do that. And then we're going to talk about a couple things. But what I didn't plan on doing, Maryland, you caught 30 pounds in Maryland. Wait, what? That's impressive, dude. Largemouth, or I assume all largemouth. I I was going to talk about Bobby Bonilla Day, which we will, and who's the most overrated angler or underrated angler. Greg Holcomb, hi from South Carolina. Really liked last Thursday, buddy. Hey, appreciate you joining us. All largemouth with a 6.79 kicker. Nathan Owens, I started the job, Danny. I'm in soft plastic heaven. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. You don't know how important it is for me to see you guys there and to see how you guys are, doing with your life and everything. That's awesome. I am happy for you. But I was sitting here. Oh, T-Toms. Let me get his comment real quick. Been traveling to Birmingham, Alabama for family stuff. They got a lake called Lake Purdy. They rent out boats for 3 to 6 hour gaps. Crazy prices. Stocked up tracker for $200 for 6 hours. Crazy deal. Yeah, that's kind of high. That's kind of high. I would say, that ought to come with a guide. That's just me. Anyway, I was sitting on Facebook today, and one of the local politicians, Coleman Jones, I'll be proposing next Friday. Dude, congratulations. Now, is it going to be a romantic proposal, or you just going to drop down to the knee? You got some plans with that? Because, listen, that could be a lifetime memory right there if you do it right. But anyway, there's new laws going into effect in Georgia today, July 1st, and most of them are boring as hell. They're you know how laws are. But there were a couple of them that caught my mind. What's up, Steve Magmoto? Listen to these laws in Georgia, and this is what you're now Silver Punk. What do you mean? Who's the lucky guy? Now, don't be mean to Coleman there. But if you play on that team, hey, listen. That team fishes too. Gonna be at the beach. If it goes bad, I'm selling the ring for a second live scope. 100% Coleman, and that's what you should do. Hey, always have a plan B. Plan B. Always have a plan B. Anyway, here's some of the new laws in Georgia that caught my eye today. Okay. House Bill 331 bans roadside sales of dogs, cats, and rabbits. House Bill 331 bans the roadside sales of dogs, cats, and rabbits. So all you people that take your dogs up to the Walmart after they done had a litter or two and you try to sell them, as of today, that is illegal. You cannot go sell puppies on the side of the road, or cats, or rabbits. This is what our politicians are working on, guys. Now, here's one that I understand the situation, but I find it a little bit interesting. House Bill 177 allows pets to be included in domestic violence protective orders. Now, lots of times when you have a situation, a domestic violence situation, which is they're bad. I understand that. But let's just say the husband and wife are downstairs fighting and you have 3 children, upstairs that don't hit whatever. You're going to get those, that Family Violence Act, your Family Violence Act and all that. But now your pets can be included in the protective order. So if you have a falling out with your wife or your husband or whatever, you're not allowed to go over there and be near that pet anymore. The pets are now included in domestic violence orders. So I don't know. But they'll still be selling them dogs at flea markets, maybe Silverpunk. I just found that unusual that pets can be included in domestic violence orders, domestic violent protective orders, protective orders. So that bill sounds like a country song. Can I go back and shoot the dog? Shake my head, Fred Ashcraft says. This is what your politicians are working on here in the state of Georgia. Messick Outdoors, can you give them away? That's a good question, Messick. So if you're sitting there, and you're not charging for them, can you just give them away on the roadside? Good question, Messick. I do not know. I'll find out. Stephen Sturgeon, such a problem. Glad that our legislators are addressing such important issues rather than healthcare needs or tax relief. That's my point with this. Okay. Now, this one I can kind of agree with. I think we need it. It did not pass, but it was very close to passing. It is a strong priority for 2026, 2020. Probably combating dogfighting, Atlanta Outdoors. Maybe so, but you can't sell rabbits or cats. Now, I would pay to go watch a rabbit fight. I would pay to go watch rabbits fight. My grandfather, God rest his soul, was a chicken fighter. So growing up here in rural Georgia, I've been to my share of chicken fights. Now, highly illegal. Wait, what's jumping on Jacob Wall? Jacob Wall right there is his underrated thing. We're going to get to that for sure. Tony says you can't collect taxes. You can't collect taxes. But this one's one that didn't pass, but probably will next year. Hunter Ed in schools didn't pass. HB House Bill 451. So I do believe hunter education ought to be in there. What's up, Jonah and Atlanta Outdoors? My hometown is a big problem. Used to find dead dogs in ditches that they used to train the pits. All right, Josh Tatum, it is cockfights. Okay? It's not chicken fight, it's cockfights. He wanted me to say it. I said it for you, just for Josh Tatum. Okay, I hope you're happy, Josh. Anyway, all right. Here's a couple Senate bills. The Riley Gaines Act, which I agree with. SB 1 bans biological males from girls' sports and locker rooms. I think the majority of our viewers would agree with that. They would agree with that. But let's see. For you guys that fly, I think gun education should be in schools, Ron Swinford, 100%. And I'm telling you, back in the 80s, we had the trucks with the gun racks on the back, and we had guns at school. Danny's troubled childhood. This is why I am the way I am, Josh. The 80s were just different. We've discussed that. Now, for those of you guys that fly drones, House Bill 58 bans drones within 400 feet of a ticketed event unless authorized. So, if you're going somewhere, sporting event, you got they sell tickets. You got to get prior authorization. You guys out there that just like to fly the drones everywhere, you just can't do it no more without. And I don't know how you get the authorization, but that's something, because I know a lot of guys in the outdoor world have drones, and I know you guys use it for different things. Starting today, backseat passengers can get no seatbelt tickets. That's a tough one. I get it. I understand. I think the last time I got put in the back of a patrol car, Mrs. Pruitt was driving. We had an expedition, and State Patrol come up behind us. And I'm just going to tell you right now, there ain't no way he could see. But he pulled my wife over, and he started to write me a ticket for no seatbelt. Now, Danny, understand this. There's a reason why my wife was driving. Danny had been having some fun that afternoon. So anyway, I told that State Patrol guy there was no way in heck he was lying, and he couldn't see, blah, 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 blah. Next thing I know, I'm in the back of a Georgia State Patrol car. 3 kids in the thing. My wife was mad as hell. She was absolutely mad as hell. But I felt he was in the wrong right there. So after he talked to me a little bit, he did let me go with a ticket for no seatbelt. Now, that wasn't the last time I was in a patrol car, because Partying Danny, as we're going down the road to her father's house, decided he was going to take the ticket and just wad it up, and I threw it out the window. Okay, this is pre-Jesus Danny, guys. Well, I don't know. About 2 months later, Dawson County came and visited me because I had a failure to appear, and I had a bench warrant out on me. Yes, I have a pass, guys. I have a pass, but it was all because of a seatbelt law and the Georgia State Patrol that I know. Our windows were tinted in that expedition. There's no way he could have saw it from the backside. No way he could have saw it from the backside, but he did. He won in the end. And I'll tell you this, just because you know a small town magistrate judge that can get you out of a local cop ticket, they cannot get you out of one written by the State Patrol. Let's just go ahead and say that. Danny was not wild. He was just stupid. My past beats your past guaranteed. Probably so, but I've done some stuff. Thank God there was no cell phones around when I was a teenager. Um, Atlanta Outdoors. They blocked one of the most watched adult sites yesterday, too. Well, Atlanta Outdoors, which one was that? Which one was that? Uh, Time to start using that imagination again, Cam says. Hey, I guess so. Check out this one. Now, this is the one, this is my favorite. This is my favorite of all the new laws passed in the state of Georgia. Dodging court dates is another way to get on YouTube. Yes. I'm telling you, listen, Dawson County come rolling up and I'm like, hey, guys, what's up? Well, Mr. Pruitt, we have a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, why? Well, failure to appear in court. And all of a sudden in my head, I just replayed the whole events of the past. And I was like, and my wife's like, I can't even tell you what Mrs. Pruitt said. Okay. I'll let her tell that story one day. She wants to be on the podcast one night, and I am not wanting to put her on because you just don't want that. Okay. So P-Hub saw people on Facebook crying about it. Good riddance, I say. Yeah, guys, don't look at porn. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I know on some things you can't spell it out or say it. Don't do it. So anyway, here's my favorite bill, guys, of everything that our legislators down in Atlanta under the Gold Dome concentrated on that became law today. Senate Bill 241 legalizes. You should say it's destroying families. It is destroying families. It is 100%. Wait, what? Yeah, pornography does destroy families. And we ain't talking about seeing the big-breasted woman on Facebook. You know what we're talking about here, guys. Danny's wife would expose all the good secrets. Yes. And that's why she ain't never coming on the show. Ever. Plus, guys, if you guys see me missing, you see my face on TV, Danny's missing, I'm on a milk crate somewhere like that, my wife did it. 100%. My wife's days are spent listening to Crime Junkie podcast, watching all these, TV documentaries and all that about how to get away with murder and all that. I'm going to tell you, check all the local pig pens. Start there first. But if I'm missing, it's not any of the viewers. I ain't got a crazy stalker. Danny did something, and Mrs. Pruitt took care of it. Okay? She did it. She's guilty already. But anyway, here's my favorite bill. Let me get to this because you guys are going to love this one. Because, hell, I didn't even know this was an issue in the state of Georgia. Senate Bill 241 legalizes human composting as a burial option in the state of Georgia. All right, guys. For all you pieces of shit out there, you can now, when you die, help bring up some vegetation. Tim White says, now I'm pissed. RedTube is off too. What am I going to do now from 4 to 7 p.m. every day? I get it. Think about that. The state of Georgia has now legalized you to become part of compost as a burial option in the state of Georgia. Now, my question to you guys is, number one, did you even know that was an option? I know there is a place in Alpharetta over towards Birmingham Highway where your remains could be put in a burlap sack and a tree planted. And somehow that went. But now I didn't know if it was illegal. That's just crazy, people in this world. I've always wanted to say I want my body to be strapped to the boat and sent wide effing open off the West Point Dam. And now we got to stop the chemtrails. Nathan said they didn't ban everything. But think about that. How many of you guys, when you pass away, when you go on to glory or whatever you believe, what do you want done with your body? Would you? I don't know if anyone has smelled a decaying human. It's the worst smell ever. Houston Binkley said mine would probably get struck by lightning. 100%. I hear it makes your tomatoes grow good, Doug Rice says. How many of you guys would like to be part of compost? And if so, would they ever sell it like at your local mom and pop, country store. Hey, we got bags. We got bags of and how would they and here's another thing. Could you get flavors? Could you get flavors? Could you get a mix? Could it be Oreo? You know what I'm saying there, guys? Could we have Oreo compost? Uh, I don't know. I won't eat those zombie vegetables. I could care less. Whatever's cheapest and easiest for my family. Paul B, I agree. Tim White says, my stepmom that is still alive has donated her body to the Body Farm in Tennessee. Wow. I told my wife, toss me in my favorite lake. I hope they can sell my body and make some money or something for Facebook Marketplace. But seriously, this is how my brain works. Okay, so now we got human compost. You can get a 50-pound bag for $9.95. Would it be flavored? Would it be flavored? We got the strawberry ones, we got the black ones, we got the white, we got Oreo, we got Neapolitan. You get a little bit of everybody. So I don't know. I'd be okay if they let my wife rent a chipper to get rid of my body. I hate the cost of dye being passed on to loved ones. 100%. Imagine digging someone up on accident, Nathan says. But I think, hey, listen, I don't care. A lot of you guys, I agree with you. I'm dead. Do whatever you want with it the cheapest way possible. Do anything you want with my body. I'll be in the presence of God Almighty. Wait, what? Says what? Hey, listen, absolutely. That's the hope, right? That's the hope. But would you compost your body? Would you compost your body? I think that would be pretty cool. And I like the flavor idea. You can get Neapolitan. And would certain people grow better plants than others? All right. Could you have a fat girl version? I don't know. These are good for tomatoes. That is good for cucumbers. That'll grow some watermelons. That right there, that's for flowers right there. I don't know. But if you were composted, what would you be? I don't know, guys. Listen, I'm just reading all the new laws, and that's the one legalizes human composting in the state of Georgia. I'll be damned. I mean, seriously, there's enough problems in this world that's what our senators. Somebody said, hey, listen, somebody had to go to one of our senators and say, hey, listen, we want to open up a human composting business. And we really need this to be legalized in the state of Georgia. And that senator goes, oh, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Can you slip me a 20 or something under the table? Save me one of them Deborahs right there. Debbie's, hey, listen, this is for the crew for the rest of the night. Yeah, they're going to be there. So would they gut load the nearly departed with minerals to boost fertility? Fortified. Now we got fortified human compost. Might make good chum. Bill says Paratulli or your name. Paratelli. I hope I said that right. Yeah, fortified with all the vitamins and irons. So people can bury loved ones in their backyard, ? I don't know, Steve. I don't know. See, it opens up a Pandora's box. But if any of you guys want to go into human composting business with me, that might be something we can do. But don't you think it would be absolutely fantastic if you had a bag? You go to your garden center and there's a bag. It says by burial means, but we're just taking this a little bit farther. You go to your bag and there's a picture of like little Debbie right there on that composting bag. Damn, this world's gone to hell. I don't know. It's crazy. All right. Anyway, so that's just some of the stuff. If you go on Facebook and you type up Will Wade, if you type up Will Wade on Facebook, he's in the government. He listed all of them. And a lot of them are realistic laws, guys. A lot of them make sense. But the earthworms that would come from that would be wild. Hey, didn't the Martians try that years ago? Now it's legal. I don't know. Imagine digging a garden and finding a skull. Now, mess it. You're composted, so everything's got to be right. I don't know what they'll do with the skulls. I don't know if we get if they're going to pay a guy to gut us like deer and just cut the meat off or something and just leave the bones. I don't know. I'm going to donate my body to science so that all the doctors are really good at looking at small things. All right. We want to make sure that their fingers are good and that for the rest of you guys, they're going to be able to work. That's all I'm thinking. Imagine having to turn out Uncle Vern's compost bin. Just burn me to ashes and throw it on the ground at that point. Remember the crematorium that they found a couple hundred bodies up in North Georgia? It's probably the guy that wanted to start the composting business, Tony. He's been holding on to them bodies for a while. You got to rack up some inventory. You got to rack up some inventory to start that business right there. So, crazy ass people. Crazy ass people. All right, anyway, we can keep talking about that. I'm going to move on to the next thing. Bobby Bonilla Day. For you guys that follow baseball, July 1st is affectionately called Bobby Bonilla Day. Every July 1st, as part of a deferred contract agreement, Bobby Bonilla gets $1.19 million. There's Trey Crenshaw. Trey Crenshaw. I couldn't remember your last name, buddy. Hey, listen, I already started eating them things. They find a little Debbie. He said he used to eat these things back in high school by the box and a gallon of milk. He played football. Appreciate you joining us here, but also coming by and seeing me. Silver Punk, go back to work. Watch the rest of this later, buddy. But every July 1st, he gets $1.19 million as part of a deferred contract payment. He hasn't played baseball since 2001. Let me make sure I put my finger right. 2001. He's going to get $1.19 million until 2035. He deferred a whole bunch of money. Now, there are other players in the pros that have deferred contracts. I think Yelich with the Brewers, he gets paid just because of honorary thing on July 1st too. But $1.19 million. Now, how'd you like sit back and you get $1 million every year? And I want to know, does his family get paid if he passes away? Ohtani is most notable for sure because, hell yeah, he had like a ton. But Bobby Bonilla is the one that started the deferred contract. And so I just, your news, you'll see it on Facebook everywhere and all that. Every July 1st. It's a heck of an annuity, 100%. 100%. And I wonder if people back in the day like, man, that's dumb. You don't want to do that because you just don't want to, but they've given this payment every July 1st. So I think that's just pretty neat. Now, real quick, before we get to our underrated angler conversation, and we're going to get to that, I want to show you guys this thing from Battery Tender that I got in here. How many of you guys unplug your trolling motor? I know a lot of guys don't. I know a lot of guys do. But Battery Tender's got this product, okay? It is a plug where you basically, and I'll put it together first, and you can do this for other things, but they market it as a trolling motor, where when you're done with whatever electrical thing you're using, it's as simple as half a turn, well, maybe 3/4 of a turn, and you disconnect it. And it's kept, parasitic drain. It's to prevent parasitic drain. Now, how it works is on the backside right here, you've got two plugs where your two wires from your voltage come to, and this mounts to your boat. And this piece mounts two wires. You can see the two wires go in right there. Steve, okay, I'll get you a comment here in a section. Two wires from whatever you're trying to disconnect, trolling motor, could be your batteries, going right there. And it is as simple as that, and you're done. So the cool thing about this is it's for trolling motors, battery chargers, electric reels, downriggers, other things. You guys with big electric outboards, some of them have them really hard plugs, some of them don't, but it's as simple as this. It works for 12, 24, 36, and 48 volts. And there's not a lot to it, but it is absolutely pretty interesting little gadget right there. And it's something for a lot of you guys that don't have your trolling motor hardwired into your boat to be able to do that, especially if you take your trolling motor from a couple boats, if you got those kind of things. And so Battery Tender, you can go to Battery Tender online. It's not very expensive. It's only about, I don't know, I think it's $40, and it might be even cheaper than that. But just something that I wanted to show you guys there. That's going to be kind of like my product of the day. I'm going to start showing you guys new products. But yeah, just a trolling motor disconnect, electric battery disconnect, your electronics can disconnect to it, all that, boom, boom, boom. So go to a Battery Tender and check that out. I thought that was a pretty cool thing that they got there. So now that I've showed you that, let's talk about what we really want to talk about. Who is the most underrated professional angler out there? The most underrated. We always talk about people that are overrated. But the reason that this popped in my mind is because I was thinking about Barron Adams of the NPFL. He's been a guest on the show. He's so consistent, and he's not a big name, and he flies under the radar unless you watch the NPFL a lot. Coleman Jones says he may not be underrated, but you can't bet against Jake Lawrence for any circumstance. So, I was sitting there thinking, and like, listen to this. I'm going to give you the top 15 of the NPFL, and then I'm going to give you the top 15 of Bassmaster. See if any of these names ring a bell. So this is the NPFL. Kyle Welcher, number 1. Greg Hackney, 2. Patrick Walters, 3. Brandon Cobb, 4. G-Man, Gerald Swindle, 5. Caleb Cuphall, I hope I say that right, 6. Scott Canterbury, 7. Drew Cook, 8. Hunter, I think it's Sales. My handwriting's awful. 9. KJ Queen, 10. Jason Burrows is 11. Barron Adams is 12. John Cox, 13. Hank Cherry, 14. And Corey Casey is 15. Now, there's a lot of big names that are fishing the NPFL, names that are easily recognizable. Barron Adams is sitting right there amongst them. I think he's always, he seems to always be top 10, top 20, just consistently year after year after year, but he's not a big name as far as the Kyle Welchers of the world or the Drew Cooks or Hank Cherry. He's ahead of John Cox, Hank Cherry, but I think he's underrated. Now, if you guys fish tournaments up here in North Georgia, especially Chattooga and all that, you absolutely know the name Barron Adams. Messick Outdoor says Mark Daniels Jr. Big Bait John says Milliken. You think Milliken's underrated? And Steven says, professional. I was going to say that I am the most underrated fisherman I know. If I were doing that, I'd say I'm the most untalented fisherman I know if we were talking about ourselves. Now, check out Bassmaster. And the only reason I didn't do MLF is because I don't watch it. And I don't even, I just don't watch MLF. Cobb is from my hometown. I feel like the forward facings messed him up with Bassmasters. Well, perhaps. Jay Shakurik, I always mess his name up. He's 1. This is Bassmasters. Chris Johnston, 2. Trey McKinney, 3. Patrick Walters, 4. Bill Lowen, 5. Fujita is 6. Will Davis Jr. is 7th. Ito is 8th. Shane Lelton, 9. Hey, hometown boy, Paul Marks is 10th. Bryant Smith is 11th. Tyler Williams, 12th. Brian New, 13th. John Cox, 14th. Justin Hammers, 15th. Now, Doug Hannon. Okay, so that's one that's not a professional, might be underrated. Nathan Owen says Randy Blockett, his hate spread of FFS is unprecedented. That's true. I agree with you 100%. But I thought about this with Barron Adams. But then I got to looking. Kyle Welcher, he's 1 in the NPFL. He's number 1 in the NPFL. He's number 16 in Bassmasters. But Patrick Walters is sitting 3rd in the NPFL. He's sitting 4th in Bassmaster. His name gets thrown around a lot, but that's pretty impressive. Are we underrating him? Drew Cook, he's not in the top 15 in Bassmaster, but John Cox is. Let's see. John Cox is 13th in the NPFL. He's 14th in Bassmaster. Now, G-Man is doing good in the NPFL. He's not in the top 15 in Bassmaster right now. But who are some of the guys that you think are underrated that don't get the love that they should? And I sit back and I think about, you're watching, those names are out there. Milliken got brought up. I don't know. Seth Fighter. Listen, Seth and what's his name, Matt Robertson, they just got to keep their shirts on. All right? They look like me. I shouldn't be going around anywhere with my shirt off. That's what my wife says anyway. Fisher Anaya, Coleman Jones says. That's an Alabama kid, right? He's an up and coming. Local guys that might be underrated. If you guys know any of that. I think it's just interesting because to see Patrick Walters sitting 3rd and 4th, And we all know he's good. Michael Neal, Tony Collins says, we all know he's good. But is Patrick Walters as a whole, is he one of the GOATs right now? Not, I shouldn't say GOATs because that's greatest of all time. Do we give him the love that we should? Rob G, underrated, Doc Holliday says. I always tease Patrick Walters because he's always got shorts on no matter where he's at. And, we always see his backside and all that. But when you're sitting in 2 professional trails and you're in the top 5 of both of them, one without forward facing, one with forward facing, that just shows me his level right now. His level. And with the top 5 of, I know on Bassmaster, I don't think Shakira, I don't think Johnston, McKinney. I can't remember about Bill Lowen. If Bill Lowen is fishing the NPFL, I have to check on that. But Patrick Walters is top 5 in 2 of them. And that's pretty. Is he underrated? Are we not giving him the love that he needs to get? So I don't know. John Cox, I think the people that like John Cox are the people that like to fish the way he fishes, from listening to everybody. Drew Cook, I love. Drew Cook's a good time, guys. And he's a hell of an angler. Paul Marks, some of these rookies, are they underrated? Is Trey McKinney underrated because everybody says he can't catch fish? He can't catch fish without forward-facing sonar. And I mean, like, I've had conversations with him, and I do talk to him, text messages with him from time to time. Like, if you guys knew the lakes he grew up on, he is a very, very good angler on other things. I think he could compete in the NPFL. Messick says, crazy to see how many good anglers come from South Carolina and Georgia. North Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee. There's some good anglers. Think about it, though. We got the best, Florida, too. This area in the Southeast, we got amazing fishing. Amazing fishing. John Cox and Keith Poche from their styles of fishing. Yeah. Do you guys think G-Man is underrated? Do you think he's underrated? He almost won an event the other day. And do we have the LeBron conversation where LeBron said we look at rings too much? You got to have rings to be considered the best or one of the GOATs. And there's a lot of, think of Dan Marino in football. Tim White says extremely overrated. Hey, and a lot of guys, Tim, feel that way. A lot of guys feel that way about G-Man. But Fred Ashker, he said Kyle Patrick's underrated. G is a legend in the sport. Is he a legend based upon results, or is he a legend based upon his personality? G-Man underrated. I think Wheeler will go down as the best by the end of his career. But I'd like to see Wheeler get over here and fish some of these other things too. I think he is, like I said the other day, G-Man is just ounces away here and there from being one of the greatest. See how we all got different opinions on that. Slick Johnson's the greatest angler out there. I can tell you right now, he's extremely underrated. I just did that so I could cut that and send to Slick. KJ Queen is one that's underrated. Yeah, I mean, but what about Trey McKinney? Brent Williams says Todd Faircloth. There's a lot of guys out there that are really, really good. They don't get the love. They're close. They're consistent anglers. They probably could just kick every one of our asses. How many other over the span of time, no major wins and 2 anglers of the year? I don't know, Fred. We'll have to look into that. Buddy Gross, George Thornton says. Buddy Gross. And hey, listen, I get it. We might argue that tomorrow. I don't know, whatever pops up. But like LeBron has been catching a lot of flack because he did an interview where he said that the NBA fans celebrate ring culture and all that, which I think that's my way of him saying I'm never going to get the ones like Jordan and I'm never going to be as good as Jordan. But that's just me. But it does call into question, do you have to have a Bassmaster Classic win? Do you have to have an Angler of the Year win? I think Danny Pruitt is one of the most underrated. Alex, that's because you want some of these little Debbies tonight and you want me to save them. So that was a good question of the night tonight. Fred, I can't do a question of the night because you guys know the answer now. But it's a good topic. We can't do it tonight, but we might do that. But do you have to have a Bassmaster Classic win? Or do you have to be an angler of the year to be put down as one of the GOATs of the sports? Do y'all think if they were on live more, would they be underrated? Like if we actually got to watch them fish more? I don't know, Messick. That's a good question. It's just, the LeBron thing got me thinking about the bass guys and all that. And also, too, Barron Adams. Because, like I said, Barron is just consistently good and on a variety of different lakes. And especially, Atlanta Outdoors says, always like Jim Murray Jr. Yeah. Yeah, there's a name right there. But Barron he's just consistently good. Sounds like LeBron is taking his crying from the court to the media. Well, I'll tell you this about LeBron. LeBron probably is the most athletic big boy to ever play ball. He is probably the statistical GOAT. But if I was starting a team and I had to win a series, I'm starting with Jordan. Who's the biggest crybaby in professional fishing? Did Aaron Martins win a classic? Fred Ashcraft goes, I got to pull it up. I can't remember. I just got into professional fishing a couple years ago. I still got a lot of history. Who is the biggest crybaby in professional fishing? Crybaby might be Poche, Coleman Jones says. Old Randy. Now, we'll have to Randy is the clear runaway favorite with that. Ish Monroe. There's another one. Yeah, he's been known to squall a little bit. I don't consider Blockett a pro. True. He does fish some lower level stuff right there. And again, don't be keeping no fish to eat. Don't be keeping no fish to eat, Randy said. That's wrong. You got to leave them in there for the future generations and the tournament anglers to catch and release. That's his video last week. But no, I don't think Randy Blockett's still a pro. He did fish pro though for a while, so we have to give him that. But take Randy Blockett aside because that's easy. So if you take him aside, we got Poche, Ish Monroe. What's some other ones? If you guys got them out there, because here's the thing: is I don't really once somebody starts crying and fussing about something, if it's on a video, I skip it. I go on. I've had enough. I don't really watch somebody squalling. I know there's some of the channels that cry. I saw a guy yesterday that likes Randy B. Here's the thing about Randy, Doc. If you watch some of his other channels, he is very smart. He does have a lot to offer as far as techniques and stuff like that. He does. The problem is he makes his money and he makes his social scene on fussing. And you know what he does? It gets on my nerves. You guys go check out a lot of the titles in his video. He had one out the other day, and I can't remember if it's on his Intuitive Angling channel or if it's on one of his other ones, but he said 80% of people don't know how to put line on a spinning reel, excuse me. Now, here's the thing that bothers me about that. I'm going to read some of them other ones you guys are throwing out there in a second. How the hell 80% of people can't do it? And it is clickbait. And he does that more than anybody. 90% of all bass anglers are against this, or 90% of all this, or 70% of guys can't do this. That is my one pet peeve. That's my one pet peeve is when you start putting out percentages. I can't stand that because I know good and damn well you didn't do a poll. And I know good and damn well you only know the anglers that live around that daggone Lake of the Ozarks or wherever the hell it is you're fishing. Everybody down here in Georgia, let me rephrase that, not everybody, but come to a spinning rod heavy area, they know. They know how to do it. So I got Matt Herron. Yeah, buddy. That's one. FBD. I got my own thoughts about that fella after he was on the show. Now, kind of changed my opinion of him a little bit. He copied Matt Stefan, made up statistics, and that's it. Like if I were to say 85% of my viewers like jelly cream pies from Little Debbie, how the hell do I know what you guys like other than what you told me the other day? And so you can really put that on a title of a video and people are going to click on it. Boom, you got a view. Whether they agree with you or not, you got a view. I think that's disingenuous. And I ain't a perfect person. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but he does it over and over and over and over and over again. Just go look at the titles. Look at the titles of some of these YouTube videos. Okay, if you look at the titles of some of these YouTube videos, there's no way. And I did that one on Randy where he said all the people were against forward-facing sonar. He had that percentage, and then I put the poll out, and we did it, and we proved him wrong. Stefan used it as 90% fish this bait wrong. Entire series showing how he recommends it. See, that's what I'm talking about. How many of you guys clicked on that video, though? They sucker us in. So that's mine. So Randy, I don't think I don't consider him a pro anymore. I have to give him credit, but his other stuff is actually really good. Best clickbait title. The best clickbait title is not a title at all. All you got to do is put a chick in a bikini, and then the title can be in Japanese. It doesn't matter. People are going to click on it. And I hate to say that is the state. That's what happens. That's us men. Right or wrong, that's us men. Matt Herron is a crybaby. I thought he was going to cry and stroke out on Slick's live. I've never met Matt. I don't know what involved. I did watch that live. I did. But yeah, the world is so full of negativity that it's pulling people to like his videos. Well, guys, think about that. How many times we're going down the highway, going down 400, 2-lane this way or 4 lanes, whatever the hell it is, and on the northbound lane there's a wreck. And how many people stop and look at it and slow down and bottleneck the southbound lanes just to see what happened in the northbound lanes? That right there is why people go watch some of their videos right there. And it's, we try not to do that with our thumbnails for ours and all that. Randy B thumbnails on the water irk me. Then he is in his truck in a parking lot of an abandoned supermarket. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I know. Well, listen though, you can't fuss at Randy though, because what he's doing on his channel, he's getting it. He's getting it. And I can tell you how. I don't ever watch Randy B. Never will. I can tell you how it works. YouTube. Once you get monetized, you get paid a certain percentage for every 1,000 views. Every 1,000 views. And the more subscribers you got, the more content you put out, the people that are paying Google ads, those ads you see at the front of a video or something like that, they're willing to pay more. Low end's $5. You can get it up to $35, $40. And I imagine for Mr. Beast or one of those, it's probably $100 or $1,000, because everybody's watching his videos. That's how it works. So when you're watching a Randy video and he's got 27,000 views and he says, hey, fish with a piece of crap like this and you'll do bad, and 27,000 people do it. If he makes $35 per 1,000, do the math. It's actually kind of smart business wise, and I know why he does it. But his fishing, like Atlanta Outdoor said, his fishing tutorials were good. Then the clickbait killed it for me. And also too, here's another thing. Now we can pull up analytics here. We got some programs that I can go to my channel and I can go to another man's channel, another thing, and I can put my channel stats against their stats. We can see where they're kicking our butts or whatever. But you can read engagement. Yeah, you might have 100,000 followers, but if you only got 500 to 1,000 commenting, engaging in your video, it's not really good. Randy's one of those. He gets the views though. If you go on there and skip around in the video, it'll actually hurt him more than it helps. Well, I don't want to hurt block it. I don't want to do that, mess up somebody's business or nothing like that. But it is interesting. But I see biggest crybaby. I didn't plan on talking about the biggest crybabies in fishing. So that's interesting. But yeah, the Matt Herron live with Slick was kind of, just stop watching anyone you don't like. They're just making money off you and others. True. I get it. So it's like that. So, all right. So we've almost gone an hour, guys. So I appreciate all you guys jumping in with me today. We'll do another one of these tomorrow. Now tonight on the live well, again, Dan Beverly, I think I'm saying it right. Beverly with Magnum Baits is going to be the guest tonight. John Aldred will be back in here. Clint Bartlett will be in here, and Alex will be running the board. And we're going to talk about just something a little bit different. we've kind of talked about big baits, big glide baits, and it's just because really, if we're talking about Lake Lanier right now, everybody's going down deep, doing you're throwing top water or you're jiggling a minnow or throwing spoons. So we're just trying to give some different options, and it'll be really interesting if we can take some of these bigger soft plastic baits and go out on a Lanier on Allatoona. Big bait John Serra is coming up again too. Is he coming up tonight? Alex, is he going to come join us again tonight? Just sit in the audience. Which, hey, guys, if you're in the area, anytime we do a live well, I don't lock the doors until 7:50, 7:55. You guys are always welcome to come up here, drink a beer, sit around before the show, shoot the bull. Sometimes the juice actually gets thrown out more during or before the show and then after the show. A lot of them guys, listen, when they come in, I'll tell you how I do a guest. I say, listen, you ain't got to give up your juice. I want you to say enough, give up enough juice for the guy watching can take what you're saying and go catch fish. Now, some give up more than others. Some of them don't care. They say nothing's off the table. I always ask them what's off the table. And if they say, take some guides, for example, I've had guides say, hey, listen, can we not talk about the spoon bite? Because right now I got my clients on it and the rest of the guys are struggling. 100%. I'll leave that out. We won't do that. But you guys can come up here, hang out during the show, Sometimes every one of these guys pretty much that are on there now, like Tim and Father Time and all that, we had an open seat one night and they'd been coming up here and I'm like, all right, jump on. That's how it works here. So, we ain't perfect, but it is a family atmosphere here and everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got something to say. So I want you guys to join us tonight though and talk about that. And then Thursday, I got Farmer and Ryan Sheffield coming on because I've had guys asking me to do a jig episode. So Thursday night's going to be a jig episode. So I suck at jigs. I tie them, but I suck at throwing one. So I try to learn some. I can tell you the things to do, but actually putting it into practice is not the best thing for me. So with that, I'm going to hit this end of stream button. Make sure you're not going and selling dogs, cats, or rabbits. Go ahead in your will. If you want to become human compost, go ahead and put that in your will. So when they read it, there ain't no discussion. You got to have that will. Got to have your estate planned out. If you want to end up being in a bag of FNGO, human compost, Neapolitan, you got to let me know. So, yeah, you guys hit that like button. You guys don't realize when you guys hit the like button and all that, it helps us with the algorithm and all that. And a lot of people watch the channel that aren't subscribed. Hey, it's free. Just subscribe. It helps build us up. You guys know how it works. So anyway, I'll see you tonight, Alex, and all that. You guys be good. We'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your day. And if we don't talk to you tonight, be safe till we can talk to you again. All right. You guys enjoy the rest of your work day. And make sure I hit all these buttons. See you guys.